Yo, what's up guys, it's your boy Sami here. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto was secretly a Kamikage, part 2, hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start please subscribe to our channel, and like this video. So let's get into the video. 1 week later at Izuna's house. It had been 1 week since the last time they saw Zabuza, and his fake hunter ninja, and in that week the emo Uchiha had barely managed to learn tree walking. This somehow had managed to elevate his already enormous pride. It was almost as annoying as the other emo in the room, the young grandson of Tazuna, Inari. All he did was mope and whine, eventually yelling at Naruto, who merely laughed at the notion that the kid thought he understood suffering. Naruto had gone to explain that everyone in the building had suffered more, and were mostly handling it. This had continued for about 5 minutes until the kid left crying, and his family looked at Naruto with a surprising amount of respect. Now however the whole team was waking to the bridge, Naruto leaving behind a few shadow clones, and seals to protect the house. Once they made it to the bridge they noticed that it was covered in a chakra-filled mist, as well as unconscious and bloody bosses of the workers. Immediately Naruto created 4 shadow clones around the client. They collectively set 4 flames formed, creating a powerful purple barrier. Once again shocking Kakashi on Naruto's incredible skills, and that barrier is very hard to make. Sadistic chuckles coming from the thickest part of the mist, followed by 2 people. It seems Zabuza was recovered. Sasuke and Sakura, you handle the hunter in Naruto, and I will handle Zabuza. It seemed Kakashi was no longer underestimating his students. Haku, it looks like you have a few playmates, take care of them and come to help me. I don't know if I will last against 2 elite joining. And with it the battle was joined. With Haku launched herself at Sakura, believing she was the lesser threat. Boy was she wrong. Sakura bent all the way back, and landed 3 blows to Haku's abdomen. When he landed he noticed his stomach hurt a lot, then he puked up some blood. He realized he was bleeding internally. This girl was the bigger threat. A much bigger threat it seemed. Sensing Sasuke attacking from behind, Haku merely ducked as Sasuke attempted to kick his head, grabbed Sasuke by his leg, and slammed him into the ground, stunning him. He then threw his into Sasuke's back to keep him out of the fight by paralyzing him. He then proceeded to cast an ice-style, demonic ice mirrors. Water flowing around the area in the form of mist, forged mirrors of ice which he melted into. You will fall to me, not even Zabuza-sama can beat me when I bring this out. And so began to pepper Sakura with. Smirking at his arrogance, Sakura began to dodge him with a graceful and practiced ease. After about 2 minutes of constant dodging she grabbed up and began to counter him by throwing her own. That's when Haku realized that she had her eyes closed. A sudden sharp feeling in his leg made him realize not only did she hit him, but she could follow him perfectly. After he pulled out and continued to attack her from all sides, he began to puke more blood out, and his world was starting to blur. Collapsing on the ground, chattering at how cold he was, he looked up to see Sakura sauntering to him with a terrifying smirk on her face. Poison is such a lovely thing, isn't? Just a little exposure mixed with your internal bleeding, and all of that jumping around, and you have a barely conscious fake hunter nin. She said in a sweet yet sadistic grin that put Zabuza to shame. It was at that moment that Haku knew fear. Sensing this, Sakura said, "Don't worry, you won't feel any pain when I kill you. You deserve to die, as a warrior not a coward." Raising a kunai to Haku, who already accepted his fate, she plunged the dagger down, and swiftly ended Haku's life. Seeing the mist fade, Sakura noticed 3 things. An absolutely furious Sasuke looked at her, jealous that she easily beat Haku when he himself was easily defeated by Haku. A rather beat up, and bleeding Zabuza began held up by seals. And Naruto holding what looked like a whip made of fire chakra in his hand, he was bringing it forward to decapitate Zabuza when everyone heard clapping. During the fight against Zabuza, the first thing that Zabuza did was to thicken the mist in order to hide himself. This however was pointless, as he was about to find out, as he was kicked into the railing of the bridge. When he turned around he saw Naruto with his eyes closed. He wondered how someone who was not trained in the silent killing technique was able to do this. His eyes widened, as he realized this boy was a censor. He did not have time to think, as he was forced to dodge a kunai strike from Kakashi, who he had forgotten about. Wind-style gale palm, Naruto's voice rang throughout the mist, as the powerful concentrated blast of wind struck Zabuza, slicing up his chest, and launching him back with brutal force. Zabuza struggled to breathe, shocked that the kid had turned a low C rank into what felt like a solid A rank in terms of pure strength. The raw skill and manipulation that took was incredible. He did not have time to think about this, as Naruto appeared in front of the sword partially behind his back, as if he was drawing it out. This made Zabuza raise his repaired sword in defense, though he was not prepared for the wave of fire that came from the boy's blades he connected to Zabuza's. This caused him to launch back away from the boys, 2 almost being stabbed by Kakashi's Chidori. Attempting to dodge this, he still managed to get hit on his arm, leaving it useless. Kicking back Kakashi, he suddenly could not move. He looked down to see seals covering his body. He looked up to see a whip made of fire in Naruto's hand. Then he heard clapping. With everyone looking at the end of the bridge, everyone saw the evil little midget Gato, backed up by about 200 thugs. So much for the demon of the mist, more like the puppy of the mist. Zabuza really got beat by a group of kids. Of course he was cocky with a lot of thugs backing him up. What is the meaning of this, Gato? Zabuza growled out through the immense pain in his arms. Insurance, like the two I sent to kidnap these two, bringing out the bound and unconscious bodies of Inari and Tsunami. He was shocked to hear the laughs of Naruto and Sakura. Actually everyone was. Why would they laugh at this situation? Why the hell are you laughing, brats? Zabuza asked, sounding more than a little peeved. Managing to stifle his giggles, Naruto raised a hand in a seal and pulsed his chakra. This is why, he said, as the two captives puffed away in a plume of smoke. Realization hit all of the ninjas, and Tazuna, and all except Sasuke began to laugh at the ploy. Releasing the seals on Zabuza, Naruto tossed a kunai at the demon of the mist. He then proceeded to kill Gato with a kunai in his mouth. Walking back to Haku's body, covered in gashes, and impaled with spears and swords, he began to cry while caressing his son-in-law, but Blood's face. The thugs, angry at the loss of their meal ticket, began to charge at the ninjas, only to stop after seeing the mob of villagers at the other end. Naruto then walked out in front of them, creating a clone. Naruto raised his sword that was flaming. He swung, sending a rather large wave of fire at them. His clone followed up with a ridiculously powerful wind-style great breakthrough. The newly created white-hot torrent went through the mob, so hot it actually turned them into ashes, which were blown away by the great breakthrough. Silence reigned throughout the bridge at the sight of such a large and quick slaughter. Ignoring everyone else, Naruto noticed that Zabuza had stopped breathing, and so sent a wind blade at his neck. Collecting the bodies, head, and weapons of the two in a scroll, Hao turned to look at the citizens. He grinned a large grin, and said in a large echoing voice, "You are free." This led to massive cheering that drowned out the hateful and borderline insane look on Sasuke's face, as well as the concerned and exhausted face of Kakashi. No one noticed the real hunter Nin hiding in the background, writing down what he had seen for his report. With the Hokage 3 days later, Lord Hokage looked at the Tsuruka, exclaimed, barging into the room with a bingo book in hand. "What is it?" Iruka the Hkage asked, genuinely curious at the state of the usually professional. "Look at page 105 and 106, he said, as the Hokage followed his instructions. His jaw dropped as he noticed the entries. Sakura Haruno, the least Kage Hime, Shadow Princess, age 12, noticeable features: pink hair with black tips and jade-colored eyes. Rank Genin, level high C rank. Sakura's stats: Taijutsu mid-high level, weapons mid-chunin level, medical ninjutsu mid-chunin level, ninjutsu unknown, speed low level, strength high Genin level, chakra level low chunin level, stamina low chunin level. Words of warning: any touch is dangerous, and skilled in poisons. Extremely skilled in evasion. Accomplishments: defeated the B-rank apprentice of Zabuza Momoichi, was able to heal many of the villagers from a wave of various afflictions in a short time with the aid of Naruto Uzumaki. Bounty: miss 150,000 Ryo dead. Eyes wide at the once pathetic Kinoichi's skill, he turned to the next page and nearly had a heart attack. Naruto Uzumaki Kage Rick of the Leaf Shadow Dragon, age 12, noticeable features: short spiky blonde hair and sharp blue eyes. Has distinct whisker marks on his cheeks, 3 on each. Rank Genin, level high A to low S rank. Naruto's stats: Kinjutsu mid-Kage level, Taijutsu elite Jounin level, weapons elite Jounin level, ninjutsu elite Jounin level, elemental manipulation high Kage, seals level 9-10, medical ninjutsu mid-Jounin level, ninjutsu unknown, but presumed to be small, as he possesses massive reserves. Speed elite level, strength low Kage level, powerful bodies, just look at Tsunade. Chakra level low Biju, words of warning: able to channel element into sword for various effects. Immensely skilled in seals. Sensor type: I love Shadow Clone Jutsu. Don't attempt to fight if below Kage level or in a large group of elite Jonins. Accomplishments: defeated the high A rank Zabuza Momoichi, defeated both of the high C rank Demon Brothers, slaughtered 200 thugs with only 1 attack. The two combined, so it was only 1. Was able to heal many of the villagers from a wave of various afflictions in a short time with the aid of Sakura Haruno. Bounty: miss 1 million Ryo, Cloud 10 million Ryo dead or alive, Earth 150 million Ryo alive. It seemed like Naruto was really destined for greatness. Although this was really going to cause problems with the council. This was another headache the boy caused. He was getting too old for this shit. Let it be known that Sakura knows everything about Naruto's life, including his parents and Kurama. She doesn't care and agrees with him on everything. At the bridge, it had been exactly 1 week since the time of the Battle of the Bridge. In that week, Naruto and Sakura had gained a lot of love and respect for their efforts in not only the liberation of the wave, but the reconstruction and healing of it. Both Naruto and Sakura had constructed medical areas from which they healed and aided in the recovery of the various injuries sustained from the brutality of Gato's rule. Naruto, using his clones, helped to reconstruct houses and buildings. He even helped the fishermen get their catches while they helped in the construction of the bridge, which Naruto also helped out with. And all the two were given the love of the entire people. What really stuck with the citizen was the fact that they wanted no pay from it, only that they continued to stand up for themselves, and that they truly take care of the various orphans left behind. As they were leaving the bridge, Team 7 heard, "We shall call this bridge the Great Naruto Bridge, and the gate the Path of Sakura, in honor of our 2 great heroes." This came from Tazuna's booming voice. This of course made one Imoichiha very upset. but no one cared about that. 6 hours later, without a civilian to slow them down, the team was able to go many times faster, especially since they could travel by trees. As they were crossing the gate, Kakashi was told to take his team to the Hokage. At the Hokage's office, "It seems you enjoy causing mischief, Naruto," the old Kage said, as he tossed a bingo book to Naruto. "Look at page 105 and 106, that remind me I am very impressed with you, young lady, you have improved greatly." This made Sakura preen, as even though she had little respect for the old man, as a leader, she knew he was an extremely powerful shinobi. "Wow, I think Naruto may be the youngest lowest rank shinobi in history, as well as the youngest shinobi in this book," Kakashi said in an odd voice. He really did not know Naruto was this skilled. Sakura is also heard, as well as a high C rank Kenyachi. Naruto said, full of pride at his students' advancements. Of course, this did not sit well with Sasuke, who was literally steaming. This caused him to stomp out with a vicious scowl on his face. Being dismissed by the old man, Sakura and Naruto went to their training field while Kakashi reported. After training for about 10 minutes, they both stopped, turned towards a tree, and said together, "You can come out of Hinata." The first response was a loud chuckle, followed by the once timid girl to saunter out smirking. She looked very different from before due to a meeting about 2 weeks after Naruto began to train Sakura. She had on a dark blue colored top that tightly fit across her rather large breasts. It however showed a firm, pale, and toned belly. She was also wearing a matching skirt that went down to her mid-thigh. She, like Sakura, was wearing black band on her wrist, and a black choker. She had also grown her hair to her mid-back. Think like her Shippuden hair, she was massively stronger, and more confident. Almost like Anko Midorishi with a more seductive and playful nature. She had become Sakura's sister-in-law, but blood. Flashback, Hinata had been watching the two spar for about 30 minutes, and she was shocked by the wittier improvement. Distracted by her awe, she never noticed that Naruto and Sakura were right behind her. She squeaked after hearing "Hey Hinata." "Sorry Naruto, I'm trying to explain why she was there." She began to tear up, as Naruto sensed her deep sadness, and self-loathing, and deep admiration for him. Looking at Sakura, they both nodded, and went over to the shy girl, and embraced her. "It's okay, we are not mad. Actually, I have been wanting a task if you want to train with us from now on. I think I have discovered why the gentle fist is so hard for you to master, and have found a way around it. What do you say?" This caused her to look up in both shock and deep happiness. "You want me to train with you?" she said in a rather quiet voice, and with Naruto's nod in confirmation, they began to train. Flashback end. After testing her fighting forms, chakra control, and element, they devised a training method for her using the same seals that Sakura was using. She was able to use 12 clones at the beginning, and divided them to do 2 to learn serpent fists for its flexibility and precision, and 2 to practice mixing it with her gentle fist. 2 to learn how to use lighting chakra to mix in with her fighting style. 2 to learn some basic. 2 to learn chakra scalpels. 2 to learn medical ninjutsu. They were excited to see what she could do, as they had not seen her since the day before they got the wave mission, due to her being on a crank mission herself. After sparring for about 1 hour, Naruto was able to evaluate their overall skills, and asked them to create some clones. But before they did, Anbu entered the field. "Naruto Uzumaki and Sakura Haruno, you are to report to the council immediately," he said, then poofed away. Knowing what this was about, they said their goodbyes to Hinata, and then left in a swirl of water. In the council room, loud bickering could be heard in the council room, as the civilian part of the council was furious at the development of Naruto Uzumaki. That the demon child would dare to be stronger than the last Uchiha. Headed by Kagome Haruno, a cruel pink-haired bitch, they were responsible for several of the mobs that hurt Naruto as a child. Seeing a swirl of water indicating a shushin, they watched as Naruto and Sakura came from within. Killing intent is increased by true raw anger. Also, chakra feels different due to each person's personality and body. In the council room, the room was quiet at the side of the advanced session. The shinobi side consisting of the Nar, Inizuka, Yamanaka, Akamichi, Apuram, Sarutobi clans currently, as Tsunade was not around, and Naruto and Sasuke were unable to claim their seats yet. Were quiet due to the sight of the supposed dead last using a clearly advanced shushin. This made them automatically reconsider any preconceived notions they had before of the boy, as well as start to see his similarity to Minato Namikaze. The civilian side was quiet at the sight of Sakura's clothes, and her obvious closeness to the demon brat. Kagome was not at all pleased by this turn of events, and, quite loudly, voiced her displeasure. "Sakura Haruno, what are you wearing, and why are so chummy with the demo crash?" she started to screech in her superior tone, before Sakura appeared before her, using killing intent, her first implanted next to Kagome's head. This made every blink, shinobi included, at the girl's incredible speed, and her raw low cage level killing intent. Even Naruto was a little shocked at the girl's incredible speed. Not too much, as he fought her before, but still. "First of all, I would watch what you say, mother. You don't want to break the law, do you?" Sakura spoke in a sickly sweet voice that made even Hiruzen gulp in absolute terror of her implied threat. "Second, I am wearing my clothes obviously. I look like a sexy bitch, and I like it. I mean really, when you look this good, why not share the sight with the world?" I am not ashamed of my body anymore, and I am proud of the hard work that went into creating it. She started getting absolute respect from Suminizuka, who was in total agreement with Sakura, and was generally glad to see a proud Kunoichi. Well, you look like a whore, not like the proper lady I raised, was her mother's timid response. I'd rather be a happy whore than a miserable lady. Sakura's response got a lot of disgusted looks from the civilians, and respect from the shinobi. Enough of this, the civilian council called us here for a reason. I intend to find out, and get to that. The HKage spoke in a strong commanding voice. Right, we called you here so that we can get the dem. Sakura growled here. I mean boy to give his secret training method to Lord Uchiha. He does not need it as much as the last Uchiha. We order it as the council. This garnered a group of responses. The civilian council looked pleased with themselves. The shinobi face palmed at their audacity, and raised their eyebrows at the thought of why they even wanted Naruto's training method. Sarutobi sighed tiredly at another attempt to cause harm to Naruto. Naruto's and Sakura's responses were the most interesting. They were shaking with their eyes shadowed by their hair. The shinobi on edge, thinking that they were going to lash out if their previous behavior was any indication. The civilian council grinned at the thought of Naruto being unhappy. Their actual response shook everyone a bit. They laughed hard. So hard that they were shaking and holding each other up. This pissed off the council. Why were they laughing at their order? Why the hell are you laughing, Brad? We gave you an order, Kagome screeched. With considerable willpower, Naruto managed to answer them. You think you have that kind of power over me, you weaklings? Yeah right, what's next? Demanding that the Onizuka teach Sasuke how to track so he can find his brother, or that Hokage teach Sasuke his clan jutsu, and how to use his family's style of using a bow staff. Please, you have no power over me. This got everyone to think, would they try to do that? They did not like that thought. As they were thinking, the previously mentioned Uchiha appeared from the corner. As much as they should submit to me, they are protected by clan laws. You are not, however, said the douch waffle with the duck-ass haircut, who looked extremely pleased with himself. This cockiness spread to the civilian council, as they believed they trapped Naruto. The poor delusional fools. Then it is good I belong to 3 clans, and do indeed fall under those laws. Besides, I would have been protected by laws created by the second Hokage to keep non-clan shinobi safe from abuse. Naruto said, dashing all of their hopes, and created a large amount of yelling that he could not be part of a clan. Yadobe, what clans are you a part of? Sasuke said with a rather cruel sneer at the idea of Naruto being in a clan. Uzumaki, Senju, and Namikaze, of course. This led to absolute silence, followed by screams of rage, disbelief, and calls for execution. Shut the fuck up. This came from Super Saiyan both Shibi Abiram and Hiashi Hyuga, both flooding the room in massive level of killing intent. Both had gained immense respect for Naruto, as both of their children had mentioned Hinata's improvement by Naruto's hand. Hiashi had actually seen it, as she had demolished Hanabi with little effort, and he could nearly beat Nichi. It had opened his eyes to the failure he had, as a father. Is this true? Lord Hokage Shikakunara asked with a surprisingly firm voice. Well, I can verify the Uzumaki and Namikaze, but not the Sneju, cared to explain Naruto. Simple. I noticed a similarity between the second Hokage and my father in terms of both skill and appearance, and deduced a relation between them, that, and the fact that my father had a rather large amount of chakra for even a shinobi, and his body was able to use the Hiraishin, which would be almost impossible otherwise. So seeing, as I work at the hospital, I did a blood test for all 3 of us, and discovered that he is my father's grandfather. Meaning I am directly related to 3 of the 4 Hokages. This led to a silence of shock. Seeing some disbelief, Naruto pulled out a scroll and presented it to the council. It had the seal of the Meta Corporation. Had on it showing it was indeed a valid and accurate test. Seeing that this meeting is over, I will take my leave. Oh, and this stays under wrap until the Chunin exams, and I will be living in my clan house from now on. Grabbing Sakura by the waist, he turned to leave before Kagome screamed out. Stay away from that boy, Sakura, or suffer the consequences. Fuck off, Sakura said in response, as she cuddled up to Naruto in defiance. Since you refuse to listen to reason, you are now banished from the Horino clan, and are no longer the clan heir, she said with a sick sneer, believing that it would hurt her ex-daughter. Looks like I will be living with you, Rito, Sakura said, grinning at the events. No problem, sis. Since you are no longer of that clan, you can be part of mine, which I am combining, and naming it Rakuto. Since that is all, I will be off. Jana. And with that they disappeared in a swirl of purple flames. Wow, we royally fucked up. Karma's really a bitch, isn't she? Sum said with a hushed voice. Yeah, we really screwed up, was the general consensus of the room, with the exception of one duck-ass emo. His eyes were red, and filled with fury of being defeated, denied, and unable to copy that advanced Shushin. Life was about to get interesting, it seemed. Naruto may be a badass, but he loves kids. 3 months later, it had been 3 months since the council room incident, and in that time a lot had happened to both Naruto and Sakura. Hinata also had a lot happen to her. The two lived in the Uzumaki family house that Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki had been living in for quite some time before their deaths. It was a rather large house once owned by Mito Uzumaki, as a home away from home for visiting Uzumakis. It was actually a small district with several houses that could hold a 6-person family with a bigger main house that could hold 15 people comfortably. It was colored in a light rustic brown. It had 4 floors including a basement which contained a large library that had many of all types. Mostly ceiling and water wind type ninjutsu, most of which required a rather large amount of chakra. There was a large training field in the back with a decent sized lake and waterfall. Lots of trees and open space. Even an herb garden. Naruto and Sakura lived in the main house with 2 conjoined rooms that shared a bathroom. The best part of the place was the large fence around the compound that was covered in seals that prevented access to strangers and prevented the crystal orb of the Hokage from peeking in. In those 3 months Sakura chakra had massively increased in size. Now having the ability to use her seal to make 36 clones. That is 12 times bigger than it used to be. She had about mid-level chakra. Her outfit was almost the same with the exception of increasing her top size, as she now had mid-C cup size breasts. Her whole body was toned and beautiful. Currently she had clones training in various fields, which she had increased after discovering she had lighting and earth chakra. After seeing Haku using ice style, she had tried to mix her elements, and actually found she was able to use crystal style. By mixing her earth and lighting affinities she was able to create this. She was very proud of herself, and told Naruto who also tried this. 6. Practicing dancing serpent. 4. Practicing Kenjutsu. She uses 2 mid-sized katanas sealed on her wrists. Like the Amway used in the anime, but less length. 3. Channeling lighting chakra. 3. Channeling earth chakra. 4. Practicing various earth. 4. Practicing various lighting. 4. Practicing using crystal style. 2. Learning seals. 2. Using poisons type. Overall she was a solid mid to high join level Kenyachi, Dijutsu high jonin level, controlled Tsunade level, weapons high jonin level, level 10 resistance seals, like walking through mud going at 40 miles an hour. Medical ninjutsu mastery not quite as good as Kabuto, ninjutsu low mid jonin, Kenjutsu low mid jonin, ninjutsu high jonin level, speed elite jonin level, strength mid jonin level, chakra level mid jonin level, stamina mid jonin level. Naruto had also made leaps and bounds at the moment his stats were amazing, and Itachi would have trouble against him. He would lose against Jiraiya however, but he would put up one hell of a fight. Naruto's stats. Kenjutsu Total Mastery level could beat all of the 7 swordsmen of the mist. Dijutsu mid-cage level. Controlled Tsunade level. Weapons mid-cage level. Ninjutsu mod mid-cage level. Elemental Manipulation Total Mastery. Seals level 10 far better than Jiraiya and Minato. Level 10 Resistance Seals. Medical Ninjutsu Mastery better than Kabuto, but not as good as Tsunade, and only beating Sakura due to the vitality in Uzumaki Chakra. Ninjutsu low cage level. Speed mid-cage level. Strength high cage level. Chakra level 3 tails. Both Naruto and Sakura had received their medic mastery license, and were well respected, and almost revered figures in the medical community of the village. They were considered leaders among them, and were obeyed without questions to most in the medic corps. They were well loved by most of the active shinobi of the villages, due to how effective they were, as well as their incredible performance, and downright loved by Yugao Yuzuki, and her lover Haid for curing his ailment. This also garnered a lot of respect from the rest of the local shinobi, as Haid was well liked. They had gained a reputation as the new Tsunades, which was all the more accurate, as both had mastered her style of chakra-enhanced strength. They were both excited for the exams that were starting the next day. They had run into a few sand shinobi that were harassing Kanahimura earlier, and it had only increased their excitement, as they got to see there was a flashback. Naruto and Sakura were walking back from the village after receiving their permission slips to participate in the Chunin exams. They soon heard a yelp of pain followed by the sound of Konohamaru Sarutobi apologizing, his voice full of fear. This caused them to rush to the scene, as both were fond of the little brat who they trained with his little friends every weekend. They came to the sight of a catsuit-wearing puppeteer with makeup holding up the little boy by his shirt, and a blonde-haired girl with 4 pigtails, and a huge-ass fan next to him looking irritated and bored. There also was a boy hiding in the tree next to them, but everyone else was unaware except for our 2 heroes, as both were massively powerful censors. This pissed off both of them, as they hated bullies, especially when small children were involved. The next thing everyone knew, there was an ungodly amount of killer intent coming from the 2 that brought everyone to a pause. It brought great shock to Temari and Kankuro, as well as to the hidden Gaara. The someone Gaara's age could produce more killer intent than Shukaku or Gaara's, as he was its Jinchuriki. It should be their brutal and terrifying deaths. Even Shukaku was stunned, as he was seeing his death, as well. Naruto and Sakura disappeared with Temari's throat in Sakura's hand, and Kankuro's in Naruto's. Everyone was shocked at their raw speed and skill. The 2 sand ninja were turning purple at the force on their throats. Touch them again, and we will end you, are we clear? They both growled out at their captives. Everyone nodded, even Shukaku, and Gaara nodded in fear at what would happen. This made one thing abundantly clear: stay away from them in the exams, and never bully around them, ever. Dropping their captives, they grabbed the kids, and shoo-shined off before checking out the kids for injuries, and asking what happened. Flashback ends. They were on their way to the academy to enter the first exam. Meeting up with Sasuke, who glared at them, they made their way up to the 3rd floor. There was a weakness that Sasuke decided to blurt out, insulting everyone and generally being a douche waffle. Ignoring and dragging their teammate, they made it just before the doors they needed to go to before they were interrupted. "Stop there, are you?" Sasuke Uchiha screamed at a strange boy in a set of skin-tight green spandex and had huge eyebrows and a bowl cut. He had an aura that set Naruto and Sakura on edge, as they had learned to read chakra for all sorts of things and could tell the raw power this boy contained and would later achieve. "Yes, who wants to know?" he replied in his usual arrogant way. "I want to fight the strongest members of your team, as I am the strongest genin there is." Naruto and Sakura raised their eyebrows as they realized he was baiting the duck ass. And so the battle was joined, well slaughtered anyway. They watched as the idiot Uchiha was pummeling around and found peace in suffering. After about 5 minutes of the beating, Lee was about to tell the frontal lotus that both knew they realized they needed to intervene or they might need a new teammate. And so they launched themselves and separated the two with a simple flick of their wrists. About the same time, a pinwheel flew at them, pinning one of Lee's bandages. Seeing this made our heroes go on edge, as they sensed the large amount of powerful chakra coming ever closer. With a puff of smoke, there was a man that looked like an older Lee. He was on a large talking tortoise. He then proceeded to both punch and berate Lee, which led to the most disturbing scene Team 7 had ever seen. A sudden backdrop of a sunset on a wave-crashed beach, completed by the two clones embracing with tears dripping in an anime style. Team 7 left as fast as they could. They received a rather uninspiring speech followed by him, leaving wondering why the Uchiha was bruised. In the first exam room, the moment they entered the room, 3 things happened. First, they were bombarded by weak killer intent that made the Uchiha sweat. Second, the blonde banshee threw herself at said Uchiha. And third, every one of the older and experienced ninja from the village looked at Naruto and Sakura with what looked to be awe, respect, and a little fear. In response to the pathetic wave of killing intent, Naruto and Sakura let out just a sliver of their own. This forced everyone in the room on their knees, visions of death and decay flashing before their eyes. This sent a clear message to everyone, even Orochimaru: don't even think of pissing the two off. Of course Ino was oblivious to this, as she was parasitically attached to the Uchiha. Babbling on about how she missed the boy, she realized that there was no Sakura on the other side to compete with her. Looking for the pink-haired girl, she was shocked to see that Sakura was willingly standing near Naruto and her new outfit and overall appearance. So she asked what the hell is going on forehead. The response she got was, "I'm over that ouch waffle, you should go to Ino, and Naruto is the one that helped me." She really wanted to help her old friend if at all possible. What happened in response shook everyone who knew the girl to the core, even Naruto was stunned. Finally, "Now I don't have to act like a total moron. I was only doing that to help you like I always have, Sakura." Putting her hands in a sign, she said release, and the girl was enveloped in smoke. She looked quite different. First, she was far better looking, no longer appearing underfed. She was wearing the same thing, except the bandages were gone, showing her arms and stomach. Her clothes were also a lot tighter. She had nettings on her knees and elbows, and her outfit went up to her neck. She looked far more defined, even a bit older. Her breasts were a bit bigger and firmer. She looked like a real kunoichi, not the underfed fangirl she was before. Picture her Shippuden clothing. Naruto and Sakura could sense at least a high-level chakra coming from her. Seeing everyone's shock, Ino explained, "You needed someone, Sakura, to compete with and surpass. That is what I became. Though from what I can tell, you are at least a solid jonin, and thus have surpassed me. At least for now, that is." She finished with a cocky grin. "Well, you are more than welcome to train with me, Naruto, at our clan house, that is if you can handle it." Sakura said with a large, slightly sadistic grin. She finally had her old friend back. The one her mother said to break up with. She was so happy. "You really should try to not gather so much attention." This came from a boy in the crowd. Naruto and Sakura recognized him as Kabuto. He worked in the hospital with them from time to time. "Well, Orikis, I can give you some information, seeing as this is not my first time here." He then began to explain about how his cards worked and asked any for people they wanted dirt on. Sakura Haruno, Naruto Uzumaki, Gaara, and Rock Lee the duck-ass Uchiha said, getting raised eyebrows for people wanting to know why he needed info on his own teammates. After giving the info on Gaara, such as he has never been injured and has participated on a B rank, and on Lee's amazing Taijutsu and lack in other areas, he began on the other two. Sakura Akuto, formerly Haruno, is known as the Leaf's Shadow Princess. She is in the bingo book as a solid high C rank ninja. She has extreme talent in Taijutsu, so much so that they warn to avoid any and all contact in battle. She also is known to use poisons. She also has recently received her mastery as a medic. She has a bounty of 150,000 Ryo in Mist for the defeat of Zabuza Mimichi's apprentice and aid in killing the Demoing brothers. This left everyone in a bit of shock as someone so young having such a large bounty on her head. It says here that she has shown no talent in any other field, however. Naruto Akuto, formerly Uzumaki, is known as the Leaf's Shadow Dragon. He is in the bingo book as a high A to low S rank shinobi. This is for his single-handed defeat of the high A rank Zabuza and both of the high C rank demon brothers. He slaughtered 200 thugs with only one attack, and was able to heal many of the villagers of wave of various afflictions in a short time, with the aid of Sakura Haruno. He has shown massive skill in all fields except Jinjutsu, and had shown terrifying skills in Kenjutsu and elemental manipulation. He is known to have as much chakra as some lower-level tailed beast, and incredible control of it. He also has received his medical master license. He has 3 bounties on his head: Mist 1 million Ryo, Cloud 10 million Ryo, Dead or Alive, Earth 150 million Ryo alive. The last 2 for his incredible similarity to Minato Namikaze, the 4th Hokage. There is a warning to not face him is not at least having overwhelming numbers and are cage level shinobi. All of this is even more impressive as he graduated just 5 months ago as the dead last. This left everyone speechless of Naruto's incredible skills. This however made Sasuke seethe in rage at the idea of those 2 commoners being far more powerful than him. His breathing was interrupted by a large puff of smoke in the front of the classroom. It was Ibiki who ordered everyone to their seats and passed out the test, in which he explained that they would lose 2 points every time they cheat, and they began. Naruto and Sakura, knowing the answers, merely filled them in and waited. To shake up the competition, they began to subtly release some color intent around the room. After 50 minutes, Ibiki began to harass the classroom, and after many people left, he congratulated the remaining for passing. What he did not know, however, was that Sakura and Naruto wanted more people to fight, and so they, along with Hinata, released a paralyzing amount of color intent to stop others from backing out. After a moment of silence, the windows crashed open, revealing a woman with interesting clothing, consisting of a short skirt and top that barely hid her nipples, and a trench coat over top. She was in front of a banner calling her the sexy and single proctor of the second exam, Anko Mistarashi. So after embarrassing herself a bit, she hopped out the window with instructions to meet her at Training Ground 44 tomorrow at 8 o'clock. At the Forest of Death. They were all at the Forest of Death, ready and prepared for the challenges ahead. A sadistic smirk on Naruto, Sakura, Ino, Hinata, and Anko's faces. Anko gave them a quick explanation of what resided in the forest, and had them sign waivers signing of responsibility if death happens to any of the participants. After getting their scroll, hiding it on a seal on Naruto's body, and giving Sasuke a fake scroll, they went off. After about 10 minutes in the forest, Naruto and Sakura began to sense that they were being followed. They pretended to not know of the coming ambush until all of a sudden they both disappeared. They both appeared behind a rain genin and captured all of them. They then began to interrogate them. "Who has the scroll?" Naruto asked the bound genin, flaring a little killing intent to shake up their victim. Who then caved and began to tell them everything from where their scroll lid was to the color of their underwear. After taking the scroll, Naruto beheaded the toe, and the team went off with the Uchiha seething once again at the fact that Naruto and Sakura had upstaged him. After about 10 minutes, Naruto and Sakura froze. They felt a massive amount of chakra heading their way, wind chakra to be precise. So they sent chakra to their feet and held on, as they were bombarded with the intense winds. Sasuke was blown away. And so a strange artificial-looking woman appeared in front of them. A large purple tongue coming out of her mouth to lick her lips. She then let out a massive level of killing intent she hoped would paralyze them. What she did not expect was for them to counter her killing intent and release more than 30 times more than she could manage. What interesting prey you are. So your killing intent is high, what about your other skills? With that, she leaped at Naruto with what should have been blinding speed. She did not expect that he would simply dodge to the side and swing his fist at the girl. Raising her fist to stop him, assuming it would be easy, she was launched hundreds of yards away, smoke rising from her body, and her false face coming off. "What did you just do to me?" the strange creature said shakily, trying to stand with blood coming out from its lips, and smoke from her body. She also just lost a lot of chakra from attempting to deal with the blow. He hit him pretty hard, it would seem. "I merely hit you with Tsunade's super strength that I infused with fire chakra. In short, it is burning your body from the inside out. Painful, right?" Naruto said this with a smirk on his face, fully enjoying the pained and angry look on Orochimaru's face. However, he also noticed a small portion of respect coming from the Sannin, as he was impressed by the boy's abilities. Hearing a scream from behind, Naruto saw Sasuke being bit form a clone of Orochimaru, whom the real one grinned at before disappearing to heal his injuries. Gathering their irritating comrade, Naruto and Sakura disappeared in a flash of pure speed. At the tower, dropping Sasuke on the ground, they opened their scrolls, which they threw on the ground. Iruka popped out, but before he began his speech, Naruto interrupted him. "Sorry Iruka, but we really need to seal this curse mark. As soon as possible. I have made a deal that will completely seal it off after hearing about Anko's. So if you could prepare a room, that would be great." And so with great reluctance and surprise, Iruka took Naruto to a room for sealing, and gave him the supplies needed with the request that he wait for the Hokage and Kakashi. After about 10 minutes, the Hokage came in and began to ask what happened. "Simple, Orochimaru blasted us with a large wind jutsu that separated us from Sasuke. We had a very short battle that included me hitting with the fire-enhanced Tsunade punch, causing him great harm. It turns out that he had sent a clone to give Sasuke the curse seal. I am going to seal it with a seal that harnesses the chakra that made up my mother's chakra chains. His explanation left the whole room stunned, as he began to seal off the curse mark. This seal worked by infusing the ink with the chakra that was used in the chakra chain wielded by Naruto's mother Kushina, that was passed on to him, as well. It was capable of restraining the 9 tails. A petty seal like this was easily restrained. And so he finished the seal. It looked like a circle made of kanji that had 4 sets of crisscrossing chains. What most did not know was that Naruto added a tracking seal and a death switch for leverage. As he finished, the Uchiha was taken to the infirmary to check his condition. Sakura and Naruto went to their rooms to discuss strategy and the like. To make my exams work, Kabuto has not forfeited. Also, the fights that are canon will be canon, the ones that are not will be explained. Oh, and Ino is very fast. And is a poison user, and self-taught. In the tower part 1, all of the remaining contestants were on the floor listening to the Hokage, and a healthy-looking Haid explaining the purpose of the exams, and that would be a preliminary. And so after they finished, the names, Uraoya Kaden and Sasuke Uchiha, popped up on the screen, as the other members of the exams went to the observation floors. Uraoya Kaden and Sasuke Uchiha canon, except that it was Naruto's seals that prevented the curse from reacting, not Sasuke's will. Shino vs. Zaku canon, Kin Shikamaru canon, Tamari Tenten canon, Sakura vs. Kankuro. Both contestants went to the floor. Kankuro's face is covered in fear-induced fear. He knew this girl had no qualms with killing him. Hell, she would probably enjoy it. It did not help that she had an expression that was terrifying even to Orochimaru. Once given the go, Kankuro leaped at Sakura only to phase through her, as she burst into pink sakura petals that began to circle around his bound puppet. This surprised everyone, as they had not realized that they were in a genjutsu. Or so they thought. The petals began to spiral faster and faster around the puppet, tearing into it, causing it to scream and unwrap, revealing a cut-up Kankuro, eyes widened in fear. The next thing everyone saw was the first explosion into shards of crystal, and Sakura appeared behind the real Kankuro with a poison-covered kunai. An evil grin on her face, she said, "Please don't forfeit. I want to play with you for a bit." This made almost everyone shiver in fear. So he wisely quit and walked up to his team, pale as possible. Sakura went up to her side, pouting that her fun was cut short. Up on the balcony, "When did you teach her such an advanced genjutsu?" Kurenai asked Kakashi, even though she was not aware that she was under an illusion. Kakashi teaches that it would require effort on his part, which is bordering on a sin in his perverted mind. "No, I taught Sakura everything she now knows," Naruto said with a snort. This made everyone look at Naruto in question, seeing that he explained his statement that Kakashi has attempted to teach us nothing other than tree climbing, which I had already taught Sakura, and has been teaching the Uchiha ever since he obtained the Sharingan. He has left the rest of us high and dry. Although I am already massively stronger than him, Sakura could beat him if he did not use the Sharingan, and even then it would be a close fight. This created a wave of shock and disappointment. Disappointment at Kakashi's failure, and shock at the student growth with almost no aid. Ino vs. Kuba. Ino merely disappeared in a burst of speed, and stabbed her opponent in the arm with the poison. She then kicked Akamaru into the wall. She watched, as Kuba swelled purple, and fainted before administering the antidote. Everyone was shocked at her speed and skill. "Ino, who taught you that?" Kurenai asked. "Like Sakura, my sensei is a lazy douche, so I taught myself." This left everyone stunned at her commitment. Though I can't imagine that you are any better if Kiba was that easy to beat. I mean, Hinata's development was all Naruto, and Sakura's doing not yours, so it seems that Omika is worthy of the title sensei. This left the teachers irritated at her job, except for Kai, who actually was in agreement with her at the poor performances he saw. He may be a goof, but he was deadly serious, as a teacher, and was seriously about to beat the other into a fine pulp, and had the skills to do it. The truth was he was actually a cage-level shinobi, and only a handful knew it. He hated laziness, and actually admired Naruto for his teaching ability. "Come on, Ino, we are not that bad," Asuma said in an attempt to hold his wounded pride. "No, you are worse. You have done nothing to improve your students. You three are very incompetent, and should be ashamed of yourself." This was surprisingly Guy. If he insulted someone, then it was probably true. Lee vs. Gaara canon until after he crushed his arm and leg. Gaara was about to kill Lee, but before the sand made it to Lee, it was all of a sudden turned into a purple crystal that spread to his body and restricted his movement. Naruto and Sakura were in front of Lee, leaving everyone in awe at their incredible speed. They saw that the crystal had come from Sakura's hand. They both turned and went over to Lee, and the medics were coming out to check his condition. They actually bowed to Naruto and Sakura, leaving everyone stunned at the level of respect they both had garnered. Both were scanning Lee with a medic and began to explain their finds to the other. He has multiple fractures on his legs, some are trying to splinter, and that would cause massive damage to his body. Several muscle tears and strains, as well as chakra exhaustion. Sakura explained, as she began to heal the worst of the damage. Both arms have massive muscle tears, and one has splintering that I am healing. There is some remnant chakra poisoning from opening the gates. I will have a clone pump some healing chakra in his chakra core, that should cure it. Naruto explained before acting upon his decision. This last act however had certain repercussions. Incredibly Rudo, his chakra network is growing and untangling. He should be able to wield his chakra now. It must be the vitality in your chakra. Congress guide you can pass on the tortoise contract now. Once he is out of the hospital, training on his chakra and control, he should be able to get mid-level reserves at most, but it is enough for a summon of the tortoises. Sakura explained. This left the medics and guys team in awe. Two kids just cured someone that baffled all other medics, even Sunday, as she had seen cases of this before, and was unable to do shit about it before. Guy began to cry, as his student was able to get his contract, when he swore would only go to his children, which is what he considered Lee. The medic took Lee, and left, as the Chunin exams had to continue. Hinata versus Dosu. Both contestants were on the floor, Dosu shivering at the killing intent the girl was releasing. Hell, most people were shivering at the killing intent. As soon as they were given the start, Dosu swung his melody arm at the girl, in hopes of ending it quickly. He was shocked at seeing the girl shimmer, and burst into an incredible blast of water that filled the entire floor. The next thing he saw was the girl on the statue of two hands and a hand sign throwing at him. He dodged for a bit before he suddenly felt a shock run through his body. Then he, and every one of the genin finally saw it. Wires connected to the needles, and traveling in the wire, lighting chakra only small amounts, but enough to hurt and stun him. Give up or I send a massive amount through, that would do more than shock you I think. All the while an evil fear-inducing smirk is on her face. Deciding to charge at her in hopes of not disappointing Orochimaru, Dosu raised his arms to use the strongest attack he knew, before she got the opportunity to go through with her bluff, as he believed it was. But well, I warned him, Hinata said before sending a full-scale lighting chakra blast at the sound genin. Everyone heard him scream in agony before falling to the water, not moving, smoke coming from his body. He was dead. Before Heiei could end the match, Hinata flung the lightning bolt at Dosu temple, and it went through completely, ending all chances of saving the young genin. This left everyone in shock. In the balcony, with the exception of Guy, Naruto, Sakura, Shino, and Ino, everyone was completely shocked at the once innocent girl's actions. Kiba and Kurenai were at Naruto for corrupting the girl, and decided to express that. Kurenai grabbed Naruto's shoulder, and slammed him into the wall, or at least tried to, as when she tried he grabbed her wrist, twisted it to the breaking point, and slammed her face first into the wall. Are you trying, Kurenai? Naruto said in a cold yet curious voice. Kiba, trying to protect her, was slammed onto the floor with Sakura's foot on his head, applying painful pressure. What did you do to her? She used to be such a kind girl, she began to hang out with you, and she became a ninja. She grew up, and got over her lack of self-confidence. We kill, and innocence has no place in our world. Naruto replied with a cold voice that made even the battle-hardened ears and shiver. Enko nodded at this, as she was in total agreement, as was the disguised Orochimaru. That was one lesson they both could agree on. Kurenai however was not so compliant. She began to struggle, as Naruto began to dress her down. You were, and are incapable of helping her. She was almost a lost cause before we helped her, and honestly she needed help long before we got to her. She has progressed more under my, and Sakura's aid than anyone else's. The girl is stronger than Asuma, and your useless self. So get over it. With that, Naruto tossed her to the side, and began to watch the next match, as if nothing had happened at all. Everyone was wary of the boy now. Niji vs Shoji. This battle was over very quickly, as the fat boy charged the Hyuga, who dodged to the side, and swiftly jabbed the boy in a few good spots that left him unconscious. Naruto vs Kabuto. This was the last fight, the one most was looking forward to, as they wanted to see Naruto's abilities. As they stood there, only Naruto and Sakura could see the slight fear Kabuto had hidden. Even then it was only because they both managed to be able to sense emotions. No small feat. As they were given the go, Kabuto created his chakra scalpels, and launched himself at Naruto with Jonin-level speeds. Kurenai watched on, grinning at the thought of Naruto's defeat. However, this was not to come, as he merely began to dodge the swipes with no effort until he got bored, and grabbed Kabuto's wrist, which he twisted, and gave the boy a swift kick to his chest, sending him into the opposite wall, creating a crater. This left everyone in shock at the fact that he was dominating the fight with little effort. Come on Kabuto, put some effort into this, I am bored. If you don't, I may have to kill you. Are we clear? Also, if you quit before I have some fun, I will kill you. I will be able to sense your desire to quit before you quit. This puts everyone on edge, even Sakura, as she knew a bored Naruto was a dangerous one. Kabuto got out of the crater, and sighed. He had to fight or he would die, that much he knew. And so he went at full speed with his chakra scalpels. This irritated Naruto, who out of boredom grabbed one of Guy's arms, and with no effort snapped it in half before charging his hand with lightning chakra, and impaling Kabuto. This shocked everyone at his viciousness. Naruto then threw the defeated shinobi into the statues, which collapsed on Kabuto. Naruto then began to walk away. Sensing an attack from behind, Naruto merely tipped his head to the side, grabbed the kabuto that flung itself at him, and slammed the guy into the ground with a loud crack, creating a large crater in the ground. Pointing a fire chakra-filled kunai at Kabuto, he told him to quit, and that is exactly what Kabuto did. As that was the last person to go, everyone was handed a number before being told to train for the finals. Hinata vs Nikki, Sakura vs Sasuke, Ino vs Shino, Naruto vs Scar, Temari vs Shikamaru. With that, everyone left to go start their training. Oh, and you don't need a bloodline to have the sub-elements, except for wood and blaze release. All others do not need one. The bloodline simply gives you a predisposition to those elements. Naruto's sword looks like Sanga form in Ayasha, near the hot springs. Naruto, Sakura, and Hinata were walking past the hot springs on their way to the Rakuto clan house. On their way, they heard a distinctive manly giggle. All three knew who it was, and saw a white-haired man looking in a peephole. Clearly he was being a pervert, not that any of them minded. They were ninja, so it was a rather moot point to them. They would probably not live past 25 anyway, so they really could not afford to be prudish. However, none of them liked the old man that they identified as Jiraiya the Toad Sennin, Naruto's godfather. As he abandoned Naruto, none of them had any love for the old man. That meant they would not pass up an opportunity to cause him some misery. So Naruto dropped his seals, mustered up his chakra, and in a burst of speed flew to his godfather, and placed 4 seals on his body. The first paralyzed the old man, the second sealed the guy's chakra, and the third magnified his pain tenfold. The last was one of Naruto's more favorite creations. It used the sealed chakra to heal the injuries, so that Jiraiya could be beaten constantly, and always heal from it to make the beating last a lot longer. He then turned the now paralyzed man to face him, and said, "Hello godfather, it seems you are speaking, something most women don't approve of, just like I don't approve of people abandoning family. So I think I will give you to them, as punishment, but first some of my own." And with that, Naruto punched the now terrified old man in the stomach with Tsunade level force, and kneed his groin with the same amount of force. Added to the pain seal, the man nearly passed out, but the healing seal prevented that. Naruto then had Sakura throw the man over the side, and explain what Jiraiya was doing, and told them about the healing seal, and the now furious women went to town on the poor self-proclaimed super pervert. With the blood-curdling screams of Jiraiya echoing in the background, the group went to the clan house. At the Rakuto clan house, as they were at the gate, they all sensed the chakra of one Anko Mitarashi. So they merely turned and disappeared, and were suddenly behind her. "What do you want, Anko?" They all said at the same time with a surprisingly large amount of respect and warmth. They liked her attitude, and she had protected Naruto from the shadows when he was a small child. "Well, I heard what you did to Orochimaru, and actually was able to beat him up pretty badly due to it. Then I saw what you did to the idiot Jiraiya, added to your group's improvement in such a short time. I was wondering if you could help me, as no one would train me after Orochimaru abandoned me and the village. I am actually as strong as Kakashi right now, but most of it is my own work," she said with some slight fear, die of being afraid of rejection. She had nothing to fear, as she saw them all grin widely, and they grabbed her, and in a large blast of water into the compound. 3 days later, it had been 3 days since Anko had joined them in training, and she loved it. She was being challenged, and pushed to her limits. She joined them every day from noon to 9 at night. She was improving in every field, learning some, and mastering her elements, which were fire and earth, and was learning to merge them to get lava release. She was actually terrifyingly skilled in it. She was also learning how to use Tsunade strength. Naruto had removed her curse mark, as she was much stronger-willed than the Uchiha, so it had no spiritual grip on her at all. This helped her chakra control massively, and her body was far stronger with the seal gone, as it was like a poison causing decay, which Naruto and Sakura developed a method to overcome. She would be easily as strong as any Kage by the end of the month. Sakura and Hinata were also training hard, but secretly formed the other, so as to make it a surprise. Hinata had also gotten her medical mastery in the last 3 days. Naruto, on the other hand, was forging a sword that would be unparalleled in its powers. He was using some pieces from Zabuza's sword, as it could fix itself using the iron from the enemy's blood. He was altering that property for a very special purpose. The sword was finished on the 3rd day. It was amazing, and a silverfish gray. It had the ability to absorb the blood of enemies, and convert special abilities in the blood, and chakra to abilities for the sword. For example, when he put some of Haku's blood he had previously collected, the sword gained the ability to freeze anything, and launch a barge of ice at his enemies. Its name was Kasueki from Gyre Blood Forge, as it used blood to forge its powers. A slim long sword that was a silver-grayish material, and a black hilt. It had a round part on the bottom that was white, but would glow blood red, as it was forging a new ability. It could only be touched by Naruto, and those who were his allies. He had found that by channeling it with chakra, he could harness various effects. This was due to the fact that he had merged a curse mark from Anko's body into it. This gave it the ability to mutate powers, as the curse mark alters the person that wielded it. Some of the effects that came from this, for example, was a wave of purple energy that was highly toxic. 3 weeks later, Naruto was called to the Hokage's office after about 3 weeks. He saw his godfather, their eyes full of pain and determination. The Hokage just looked tired and slightly amused. Naruto asked, "What do you want, Sarutobi? I was busy training with my new sword when I received your summons." He really was irritated by being near his least favorite people. His attitude startled Jiraiya, who went to reprimand Naruto. "Naruto, he is a Kage, he deserves some respect," the old sage said in a holier-than-thou voice. "As I feel he is an incompetent tool with no backbone, I am giving him the appropriate amount of respect." This made Sarutobi nearly cry, and Jiraiya gaped at the blatant insult at his teacher. "He is almost as bad as you, who willingly abandoned me so you could peep on women and write your shitty books. My useless father would be ashamed of you." Well, probably not, as he was a naive fool. This made Jiraiya supremely angry and confused. That Naruto knew of his father and insulted him so much. "Watch your mouth, brat. Minato was an amazing man and shinobi, and was a great father before he could go any further." The room was filled with the most insane amount of killing intent that any of them had ever felt. They saw visions of their death and of the entire village burning to the ground. Needless to say, they were terrified, as well as floored at Naruto's response. He was a great shinobi and Kage, but a piss-poor father. He chose this shithole of a village with my life. He naively believed that this village was not a living hell to those who were different. He chose to sacrifice me, and appoint an piece of shit like you, as my godfather, and told the village about my being the vessel, so he was a shitty parent from where I am sitting. You will not say otherwise or I will end you. I do have the capability to do so, just ask Orochimaru. You are not better, as you willingly abandoned me for this weak monkey to watch, as I was beaten, neglected, and overall abused. You knew what I would be treated like, as all other vessels are. If I was not absolutely positive that I would be pursued, I would have left from the time I was able to. I still would take great pleasure in watching this shithole burn to the ground. See you morons later." And with that, Naruto disappeared from the room in a large gust of wind that knocked both into a wall, not to be seen till the exams restarted. The two remaining were shocked at the absolute hate Naruto had for the village and its people, as well as for his father. This troubled them, as they were still in denial of the fact of Naruto's life. It was really pathetic. Thanks for watching my video. Leave a like if you enjoyed my video, and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content. See you next time. Till then, sayonara.